number 7 and number 8. So for number 7, I noticed something that's very similar to the first couple, one of the first couple problems we did. I have 4, 8, and 12 in my problem. And so what's going on here is we have a GCF to pull out first. So 4 goes into 8 and it goes into 12. So we can divide that out. And that's going to make our lives easier. It's going to make all of our numbers smaller. You want to look for that, specifically if you have a number in front of that x squared. That's one that's more common to look for. So I'm going to put a 4 out front. 4x squared divided by 4 is just x squared. 8x divided by 4, 8 divided by 4 is 2, so 2x. And 12 divided by 4 is 30. So now my 4 is out front and all the numbers in my parentheses are smaller. And now this is an easier problem to deal with. Now the thing you want to make sure you remember is that at the very end of the problem, your problem should look like this. 4 times, x times something, x times something. You want to remember to bring that 4 all the way down and put it in front of your final answer. Now we're going to factor with x squared plus 2x minus 3. See if that piece is factorable. So I have a 1 in front of my x squared now. Now you're going to ignore that 4. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. I need two numbers that multiply to negative 3 and add to positive 2. So I'm going to do my factor tree for 3. And I'm going to do it for negative 3 since my factor tree for 3 is just 1 and 3. I'm going to go ahead and do negative 3, so negative 1 and positive 3, or positive 1 and negative 3. So negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2, and positive 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So I wanted a positive 2 here. Here is my combination. Negative 1 plus 3. So just like the other problems that we've worked, the last two, I'm going to make this minus 1x plus 3x. Bring down my x squared. Bring down my negative 3. Split it in half. My first two terms always have an x in common. X squared divided by x is a single x. Negative 1x divided by x is negative 1. We always bring down that middle sign. 3x and negative 3 have 3 in common. So I'm going to divide these by 3. 3x divided by 3, my 3's cancel, so I'm left with an x. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. And since I kind of already have this written down here, 4 times, here I have x plus 3. And then, my parentheses, x minus 1. And that's my final answer. All right, number 8. Again, I just have a 1 in front. 1 times 42 is 42. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 42 and add to 17. I really suggested unless you find unless you know the combination off the top of your head, write down the whole factor tree. So I'm going to start with 1 times 42. 42 divided by 2, 2 and 21. 3 and 14. And what I'm doing in my calculator, or if I was using a calculator, what I would be doing is this. I'm just doing 42 divided by 2. 42 divided by 3. So 2 times 21, 3 times 14, 42 divided by 4. Since I get a decimal there with 42 divided by 4, that is not an option that I'm going to write down. 42 divided by 5. And that doesn't go in evenly. 42 divided by 6, 6 and 7, and then I'm back around to 7. So we said 4 and 5 did not work. And then 6 times 7. So everything in my problem is positive. So I want two numbers that multiply to 42 and add to 17. 6 plus 7 is 13, so that's pretty close. 30 plus 14 is 17. So there's my combination. Please go ahead and pause and see if you can finish out this problem. Same steps as the last one, and the one before, and the one before. And if you need help, go ahead and turn the video back on. Okay, so I'm changing 17x into 3x plus 14x. Splitting that middle term into 2. Bring down my x squared. Bring down my 42. And now, we kind of split the middle 2 times. You split the term, and then you split the problem in half. The first 2 always have x in common. When I divide x squared by x, I end up with just a single x. When I do 3x divided by x, my x's cancel, and we get the 3. Always bring down the sign in the middle, whether it's positive or negative. 14 and 42. So here's where you can kind of let the fact that we know these two need to match. So I need this to be x plus 30. So how can I make 14x into just x? Well, I'm going to divide by 14. And if I do it to the 14x, I need to do it to the 42 as well. 42 divided by 14 is 30. So my GCF of the second half here, what I'm taking out of that second half is 14. And then I'm going to write my step in the front, x plus 14. And my step in my parentheses that matches, it has to match where you factored in correctly. Is another set of parentheses. If you're unsure, you can graph these two together and see if they match. That's a great way. If you don't want to double distribute, graph them and make sure they match. So our original problem was x squared plus 17x plus 42. Sorry, my graph looks really funky because I was just doing pre-calc here. Oh, I can just hit one more button. My scale is all weird, but you can ignore the scale there. And then the other thing that I'm going to do here is graph my answer. So I'm just trying to move this around and it's being stubborn. Okay, I got my window taken care of there. Sorry, the Desmos was being stubborn. So I have my original x squared plus 17x plus 42, and then if I put in what I just factored, x plus 14 times x plus 3, it should lay right over that. And it absolutely does. So you can see how there's one right on top of the other. If we turn off the green one, the blue one is right below it. So it's a really great way to double check that you factored correctly. All right, that's 7 and 8.